Hello, my name's Sarah Hagger Holt, and I'm the author of this book, Nothing Ever Happens Here, which is about 12-year-old Izzy, her family and her friends, and the town that she lives in, where she thinks nothing much ever happens. But something does happen to Izzy, and one of the things that happens is that her dad, who's known through the book as D, comes out as trans, and she and her friends and her family have to respond to what this means for them. And in the process, they grow and change and discover new things about themselves and each other. And I got the idea for this book from interviewing lots of families with one or more parents who were lesbian, gay, bi, or trans, including families a bit like Izzy's. And I was interested in this because my own family is a little bit unusual. We have two mums, me and my partner, two dads, who we co-parent with, and two children. And it strikes me, as someone who went to school during the 1990s under Section 28, that families like ours couldn't have been talked about, couldn't have been taught about in schools at that time. They were seen within the law as pretend families, not real, loving, normal families like everybody else is. And although Section 28 was repealed back in 2003, we haven't had any changes to relationships and sex education guidelines since then, which is why I'm so delighted that the curriculum will change this September so that in primary schools, kids can learn about different families, including families like mine and families like Izzy's, but also so that in secondary school, young LGBT people and their straight friends can see how LGBT relationships are a normal part of life. And I'm really excited that this generation will get that opportunity. I'm going to read a little bit from Nothing Ever Happens Here now. It's a bit that perhaps shows how hard it might have been to be part of a different family maybe a few years ago in school, but also how hard it can be now to stick out and to have people to notice different things about your family. It's a point in the book where Izzy's friends at school have just found out about her dad, about Dee, and the fact that she is transitioning, and some of them don't quite know what to think. And many of them laugh at her or tease her about it. And she's feeling really alone and really sad about it. And at this point, her friend Sam comes to talk to her. And that's the part of the book that I'm going to read now. Izzy, says Sam finally, it's about your dad. Oh no, he's going to say something. Even if it's the most caring and supportive and understanding thing in the world, I don't want anyone to say anything, not even Sam Kenner. I just want them all to leave me alone, forever. About your dad, he repeats and then seems to get stuck. I'm not sure if Look, it's just that my dad's like your dad. What? My head snaps up from under my hood. Your dad's nothing like my dad. I've only seen Sam's dad once or twice when he's come to pick him up after drama club. I can't really remember what he looks like, but a picture swims into my mind of a serious-looking man with a neat beard sitting in the car reading the paper. There's no way Sam's dad is like my dad. I can't see him with a pair of pink high heels hidden at the back of the wardrobe, or putting on makeup in front of the bathroom mirror. I don't understand why Sam is messing about like this. He's not one of those boys who usually play stupid jokes. You mustn't tell anyone, he says seriously. But my dad used to be a girl. I'm not winding you up. I wouldn't do that. Swear to God it's true. I can't quite take it in. Why should I believe you? Why would I make this up, he says. But how did you find out? I ask. I didn't find out. I mean, obviously I know, but I don't remember ever not knowing. My dad transitioned before I was born, see? Before he even met my mum. I've always known. When I was a kid, they'd tell me things like how people used to think Daddy was a girl when he was little, but he always knew he was a boy, stuff like that. They always wanted me and my brother to know. Now they don't talk about it so much, unless I ask, except to say it's nothing to be ashamed of. But I always used to wonder, if they're not ashamed, and we're not to be ashamed, why is it such a big secret? Yeah, my mum and dad say that too, I swallow nervously. About this being nothing to be ashamed of. I can't help feeling embarrassed, you know? I didn't want anyone at school to know. I hate it now they do. It's no one else's business. My eyes are stinging again as I remember the looks and the whispers. I think that's how my dad feels too, says Sam, that it's no one's business but his. He takes out an empty crisp packet and smooths it out on his knee, folding it into a tiny, perfect triangle. I've always been impressed by people who can do this. Whenever I try, I just make a crumpled mess. As we're both looking at the packet, not at each other, Sam starts talking again, even more quietly this time. A couple of years ago, I got my dad to show me some baby photos. From when Dad was a girl. My gran told me what it was like when he was a kid. He had such a hard time at school for being different. In the end, he dropped out without finishing his exams. That's awful, I gasped. Even my gran and granddad didn't understand back then. They kept trying to send him off for different therapies and things. But none of it changed anything. I guess that's why he doesn't want to talk about it now. He's had enough of the hassle and doesn't want us to get any hassle either because of him. Listening to Sam, I have a terrible, sickening thought. So what happened to your dad at school? I asked. He got called names, ignored, spat at. One time he got beaten up so bad he could hardly open his eyes, they were so swollen. That's what my gran said, anyway. Dad won't really talk about it. I think for a moment. Do you think stuff like that might happen to my dad too? Sam shrugs. I don't think so. I mean, this was years and years ago, wasn't it? I'm not sure if he means it, or if he's just trying to make me feel better. He leans towards me, totally serious. If you ever want to talk, Izzy, about your dad or anything, you can talk to me. But you mustn't tell anyone about my dad. You mustn't. Not even Grace, not your dad, not anyone. If my parents know I've told, they'll be really angry. No, not angry. Disappointed, I think. Sam reaches over and puts his hand on mine. Promise? Promise, I say.